Thank you both for your testimony. We're now going to begin a round of 5-minute questions from members, and I will start us off here. I'm going to begin with my favorite topic, the Great Lakes. So, Dr. Spinrad, in December, just after passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, I wrote to you underscoring my expectation that funds would be directed towards advancing research, enhancing resilience, and supporting management of the Great Lakes. As NOAA works to implement the Inflation Reduction Act and the bipartisan infrastructure law, can I count on your commitment to ensure parity in federal investments made in both our salty and our freshwater coasts, ecosystems, tribes, communities, and economies?
Thank you for the question, Senator, and in short, absolutely is the answer. We're trying through the releases of our federal funding opportunity announcements to ensure that the Great Lakes and the coasts are well represented in parity with respect to our efforts towards climate resilient coasts. That's not meant to mean just the salty coast, but the fresh coast as well. And history is evidence of that. We've spent over $250 million in the last 4 years or so on grant awards in the Great Lakes. And as you indicated in your opening statement, we're working hard on designation of both sanctuaries and National Estuarine Research Reserves. So yes, we're committed for parity with Great Lakes.
Thank you. Wisconsin is fortunate to have 2 Great Lake coasts, including Lake Superior as our north coast. The Bad River Band of Lake Superior, Ojibwe, and the Red Cliff Band of Lake Superior, Ojibwe, have resided along this northern coast for centuries. They have a deep understanding and knowledge of the Great Lakes ecosystem gathered over generations. I highlight that expertise for you because it's essential and required that NOAA consults with tribal nations. Dr. Spinrad, to be frank, NOAA did not meet my expectations for tribal consultation during early implementation of the Inflation Reduction Act and the infrastructure law. Meaningful consultation and engagement with tribal communities, including those in the Great Lakes, ensures inclusive decision-making and parity in the distribution of resources. Unfortunately, Great Lakes tribes appeared to have been an afterthought in the process, and the implementation of Inflation Reduction Act funds to date reflects that shortcoming and failure. I'd like to ask you what your understanding is of appropriate and meaningful tribal consultation and investments, and can you share how NOAA plans to improve the consultation process as required by executive orders of this administration? Let me ask you that first, and I'll have a follow-up.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Baldwin. And I will also say that our performance didn't meet my expectations with respect to activity associated with consultation, more than just consultation. This administration has been very forward-leaning with respect to attention to needs of tribes and tribal communities and tribal organizations as well. And you called out one of the important aspects, and that's the incorporation of indigenous or traditional knowledge in the products that we develop. So I take very seriously that role. We've learned a lot of lessons, and especially with regard to how we conducted consultations in IRA. At the end of the day, I'm pleased that we were able to attend to needs of tribal communities. I would say that focus on the Great Lakes tribes is something that's high in my mind. I have brought on board from day one a senior tribal advisor, Dr. Zach Penny, whose job it is to make sure that we do attend to the needs of all of the federally recognized tribes around the country. We have followed up with IRA with a series of 5 listening sessions during June in addition to the consultations. It's my commitment to make sure that we get in front of the curve as we move forward, not just on IRA spending or BIL spending, but on appropriations writ large and on policy development as well. So yes.
So let me ask in follow-up, are there specific measures or guidelines that will be implemented to strengthen the involvement of tribal nations and organizations moving forward? And in particular, how do you plan to ensure parity in the distribution of resources to tribal nations in the Great Lakes region?
So there are a number of things we've done. Obviously, we've taken a close look at our tribal engagement. We've actually updated our handbook and our administrative orders with respect to working with tribes. I'd love to come talk with you and your staff
Please.
about what we're doing in that arena. And I think the bottom line is looking at every action that we take and first and foremost asking what are the tribal implications and opportunities here and making that part of our psyche, if you will, on moving forward.
Thank you.